Hey guys, welcome back to old Pecan Homestead. Today, what I'm going to be doing is spraying some fence rows so that we don't have to weed eat. And also we have a big, well, I wouldn't say big, but a horse nettle problem. If you know what horse nettle is, it's a spiky, obnoxious weed. Not much likes to eat it. The goats will graze it if you intensively graze them, and they will eat it. And it's supposed to be toxic, but it does not hurt goats. My goats have consumed pretty large quantities during the drought, and it never hurt them. So, from experience, we didn't have any death, sickness, or anything from it. But anyways, let me get this turned around and show you what we're working with. So, we're going to be spraying that out of a little hand pump backpack sprayer, 4-gallon. We're going to be putting this RM43 in there, which is basically Roundup, and we're going to be putting 2,4-D in there. And in this spray rig, what we've got going on is we've got 4 gallons of water and about 4 to 5 tablespoons of Dawn dish soap as a surfactant. The surfactant will really help these herbicides bind to the leaves and absorb and do their jobs. So I'm going to measure out. I'll probably put a little less than it says to of the Roundup, because keep in mind, I'm not trying to kill everything, just the horse nettle. But guys, this horse nettle is very tough. It is a very tough weed to kill. So I'm basically trying to kill it with the 2,4-D, which will kill not my Bermuda and some of my other grasses, but it will kill, 2,4-D will kill my crabgrass, unfortunately, and clover, but it's late enough in the year that the clover shouldn't be a big issue. And we're also, keep in mind, only spot spraying. We're only spraying the weeds that we want to kill. We're targeting the weeds. We're not spraying the whole pasture. I would never spray 2,4-D on my entire pasture unless it was so bad that I had to do something. Then I would consider spraying the whole pasture. But at that point, I think if it were that bad, what you must do is intensive graze it with your goats, and they will probably fix a lot of your problems if you have goats and sheep. But anyways, let's get back to this and let's get to spraying. Okay, so I didn't find horse nettle, but I did find woody brushes and stuff like that in here, and there's about 2¼ pints of this per 5 gallons of water. That sounds a little rich, but hey, I want to kill this stuff and I don't want to be walking around doing it again. So we'll listen to it. And then I haven't read this other one yet, but let me see. All right guys, and whenever I was shopping for Roundup, they were out of the Roundup brand and this, that, and the other, so I went over to the gardening area, and theirs was like $30 for making 16 gallons of solution. And this bottle right here is basically Roundup. Glyphosate is the main ingredient. But anyways, and it was like $4 more, and it can make 40 gallons of spray. So avoid the garden section and go straight to your agriculture application area and look for your chemicals there. The garden home grade stuff is very diluted stuff. They look about to be the same size a bottle, but it's far more concentrated in the actual farm area, and you're going to get more bang for your buck. But anyways, it was 7.4 ounces for up to 1 to 10 gallons. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to mix about 4 ounces of this. We're going to mix it half concentration, and it's still going to kill a lot. It'll still kill anything you spray it on. It's just, I want to minimize the effects of it on other things that I don't need to kill when overspraying the horse nettle. So anyways, let's get started. Oops, I think we put a little more than I even anticipated in there. Yeah, about 5 ounces. So a little bit more than I anticipated. My bad. But the goal is to kill things grass, and that is exactly what we're fixing to do. Now, this 2,4-D is going to go in there in a much higher concentration. And I despise getting 2,4-D on me. It is very, very hard to get off your skin. And that right there is going to do some serious horse nettle killing. Now, don't be like me and run around not wearing gloves, but I managed to keep it off my hands, and we'll see if the spray rig leaks all over me, because that's usually when I get it all over me, and I hate that. But I just bought a Chapin off of Amazon, and hopefully it's some sort of decent quality. I'm going to check these fittings before I put any pressure in it, and let's go get started spraying. So I'm going to show you these horse nettle plants real quick, and I'm going to spray a few of these right here, but I have a high concentration of them out in our corrals, and that's what I'm going to hit next. So these are the little guys, and I despise them, but you see how we're just going to spot spray them and soak them pretty good. This is going to ensure that I don't kill too much of my crabgrass. So this is one type. They're not quite as obnoxious, and I notice the goats will eat them a little better than they will these. This is another type. And these are very woody type plants. Very glassy leaves on them that it's kind of hard to get. Sometimes you can directly spray them and everything around them will die, but not, you know, half a dozen of them in that group. But theoretically, that's what the Dawn dish soap is supposed to do. See, this one's already trying to flower out right there. So far this backpack is doing the job, but it's not exactly comfortable. I thought it would have some sort of a backrest or something to it. Here's an example of the flower. Kind of pretty, but guys, you don't want these on your pasture. They'll make a toxic little fruit that looks a lot like a tomato, and trust me, it ain't no tomato and you don't want it. And right there is a prime example of why you don't spray your entire pasture. You see those elongated little leaves right there with the little purple flower? That is hairy vetch, and it is extremely high in protein and palatable to all your livestock. Very good for them. That's why we don't want to spray everything. And then as you pan around, you see other little lagoon clovery things down there. Those things are good. They're going to bring nitrogen into your soil. You don't want to kill stuff like that. That is not bad for your pasture. They're very good for it. And hopefully, as we get rid of some of this obnoxious stuff, the good stuff further takes over. All right, so I'm refilling the spray rig. It had about a gallon of that solution I made yesterday in it, but I want to dilute the Roundup content a little bit, because I decided in the corral I didn't want to spray that much Roundup in there. I didn't want to kill the grass that's in there. So we had about a gallon left over. I put a little bit of 2,4-D in it, and it's filling back up with water right now. I'm going to run in the house and get a few tablespoons of Dawn dish soap to put in there as the surfactant to help it stick to the leaves. But as soon as that's done, I'm going to go out here and show you some of the aftermath, how well it's done in 24 hours on some of the horse nettle, and finish spraying that corral. So immediately I want to show you this variety of horse nettle. It's a little easier to kill. This is the one that's not quite as spiky and not quite as irritating, but still nonetheless very obnoxious and annoying to have in the pasture, and how well in 24 hours it's done a number on this. And then I'll show you one of these other ones immediately that is dying, but maybe not quite as fast. This is the other variety. It's much harder to kill and usually takes a couple days to really show up how well you've killed it. Sometimes it will fold up like this and still decide to come back. So I'm going to go ahead, if they're not wilting pretty much to the point of death, I'm going to go ahead and spray some of these. So I'm telling you, this horse nettle is no joke, and it's very tough stuff. That's why I put a little Roundup in there too. As you can see, here's another one that's wilting up but not quite dying, so I sprayed it again. And I'm assuming I hit that one since it's so close to it, but sometimes you miss a bunch. I was thinking about buying some indicator dye, but it's like $35 for a bottle. So I figure just get out here every day or every other day for a few days and spot spray, and what's not wilted, spray it again. And that's probably one of the better ways to go about it, because like I said, some of this just doesn't start dying. And I figured as proof that goats will browse this stuff, here's one. You can clearly see there's been about 3 of the branches nipped off, and it's just not enough to completely manage this species of weed, like I said, unless you intensive graze it. So this is my biggest problem by far, is this corral. We probably fed a really poor bale of hay in here that had a ton of this horsenettle in it at one time. And those big fat leaf things, I know for a fact, came in on hay, came in on some Louisiana hay during the drought. So I'll probably take a picture of them and try to identify them and put them in this video, but they're kind of hard to kill. I've sprayed them before and didn't do a lot of good, so I came out here and chopped them down. But as you can see, they had already made seed and they're coming back. But before we do that, let's go down here and take a gander at this part of the pasture down here where the goats are at. Look at all them goats just enjoying their sweltering hot afternoon. Little pasture pig over here in the mud hole. Boy, look at all that horse nettle I need to kill down here. This has always been a real bad spot. What you thinking there, boy? Look at these goats. Purdy goats. That's our oldest goat right there. She's looking pretty good. She's always looked healthy. She's got one side of her bag's bad, but we ain't getting rid of her. She's our first one. Comes a little Billy from this year. Good looking Billy. One of our youngest ones. No, actually, he is our youngest one. He's almost caught up to others. Anyways, let's get this corral sprayed, since that was the entire intentions in coming out here. As you can see, the Bermuda is pretty vibrant in here, so that's the main reason I didn't want a lot of Roundup in this one, because I was going to have to spray a lot. Now, I have seen the goats in here eating off of some of this stuff, but this stuff right here, well, it looks like something's nibbled off of it. Just, they don't seem to be able to eat it. I'm going to get a picture of it and identify it, but sad thing is I'm killing bunches of lamb quarter, not intentionally, but stuff like this gotta go. Big old blooming plant. Hopefully we don't kill the grass. Very low concentration of Roundup in here now. It was pretty high yesterday and I didn't see a lot of grass kill off yet. Oh, there goes the lamb quarter. Oops. That's how you gotta pump the handle. It's not so bad if you're not trying to film. As you can see, I would have had to spray. I got to spray the grass a lot in here. Not that that's what I want to do, but just to get all these different plants, I have to. All right, so all of that is sprayed, and unfortunately, I did see some sunflowers and a couple Indian blankets that I accidentally had to spray. But I mean, I'd like to see them grow up and seed out. Those don't bother me at all. But let's look at some more of this carnage from yesterday. Wilted, and as you can see, the grass isn't just dying underneath it. Missed those probably yesterday, but look at that, wilted. I hope this helps you make a decision on whether or not you want to spray some weeds on your pasture or not.